All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I hope my Greenbrier County peeps can hear me and see me. Okay. Hi, welcome, and thank you for attending my session on Start Making Connections. Sorry, trying to do all these. All right, it doesn't matter if you're full-time or part-time. It doesn't matter if you're an technology integration specialist, a TIS, an instructional coach, or what my district calls a TACS, which is a technology and curriculum specialist, which is kind of a coach and a TIS all wrapped up in one person. My point is, it doesn't matter how much time you have to devote to this. It doesn't matter what you're called. If you're in a position to help teachers or anybody really, you must build those relationships first in order for them to be comfortable coming to you. And people will not come to you if they don't feel comfortable with you, if they don't trust you on some level, and they don't even really have to like you on a personal level, but just to know that you're going to help them professionally is the goal here. So just a little background about me. Like Lisa said, that I've taught middle school math, science, and technology for 6 years at 2 different counties. This is starting my 5th year as a TACS. But when my 3rd year as a TACS started, I actually missed half of the school year because the first semester I took family leave with my 2nd child, and at the same time, on top of that, I transferred schools. So I was going to a new school, and I wasn't even there at the start of school, which can be stressful. The school I was going to was one in which I had taught a few years before. So I had 2 sort of things that I needed to do at the same time. I was reintroducing myself to those that I had taught with in a new light. And I was then also introducing myself for the first time to some of the teachers there. I knew that this school needed to have some fun and positivity, and I also knew that the way I made connections at my last school were too slow for this situation. I was coming in halfway through the school year. Time was of the essence. I had to start making connections now. So I needed to also find a creative and fast way to build those relationships while also setting myself up to be seen as helpful and approachable. Upon my return, I jumped right into the middle of the benchmark testing, and I introduced myself with this quick little email snippet, piggybacking on top of an admin email because we had work to do. I didn't have time to wait for a staff meeting, so this is my introduction to the staff that I put out there for them. And then, as you can see at the bottom, it says upcoming benchmarks. I got right down to business. One of my biggest strategies that I use is to not waste teachers' time. Time is of the essence. It's precious, so I try to just get straight to the point and help them any way I can, get the information, and move on. Let them do what they need to do. I shared my cell phone number with them. I encouraged them to contact me. I told them all the time that I will do whatever I can in whatever power that I have to help in any way. I kept my door open to my office, and I stood in the hallways and walked the halls and greeted them in the halls as much as possible when I first got there so that they could see me and put a face to the name. Then I rolled out the punch card opportunity with admin approval, of course, with an email. But first, I had to plan it. I'm a big planner. I like checklists and schedulers, and I'm getting better with the online stuff because it's always with me. I'm not so good with the paper-based ones because I always forget it. But if it's online, then it's always there because I always have my phone, or I'm on my laptop, or I'm on a computer. So I'm definitely drafting things, planning things, and it's all digital. I planned the entire thing out before meeting with admin so I could have the best show, which is also a strategy. I planned everything out beforehand. My biggest holdup were the prizes that I was going to offer the teachers. And so to do that, I collaborated with some of my peers. I had conversations with some teachers, and I met with admin about what they all thought they would appreciate with prizes. The last two items on my prepping list, which is to put the cards in the mailboxes and send out the emails, I did all on the same day after school. So that when teachers came back to school, their punch card or an email would be one of the first things that they would see. The email starts. The purpose of the email was to kick this off, tell them about the punch card, tell them the purpose of it, encourage them to participate, and hopefully pique an interest in what I could offer them. I'll let you skim. Checking the chat. All right. I've created a template of this email, and I also provided my original email in a folder in Google Drive that I will share a link to you guys at the end of this session. Oh, and the last sentence that I have in there, not parentheses, is that I actually went out and I was really excited about the unique punchers, hole punchers that I got. I have a star and a heart, so I wanted to make sure they couldn't cheat me with round punches. All right, so the next part of the email was explaining what they could win. This image is actually the punch card that I purchased on Amazon. It was, I think they were having a sale that day or something, and I got like 500 of them. So if I wanted to do this again, I could. So I got all my punch cards and I wrote all my teachers' names, handwritten on all of their this card belongs to line, but I left the 10 punches equals blank so that we could talk and discuss what they wanted to win, which would then be their first punch. They could pick what they wanted to win. I gave them options of things that I was willing to do, but I wanted them to know that I was going to be open-minded. So if they had another creative idea for them to win, then I would do it. I would consider doing it, depending on it. It was a very large staff here, so I needed to keep in mind what I could actually do and afford it. And then the next part was how they could earn a punch. And this was the start making connections part of it. The way they earned a punch was to come to me. They had to come to me. They had to come and talk to me. They couldn't just say, hey. They couldn't talk about the weather. They had to come to me with an educational, technology, or curriculum-based conversation. We had to have a conversation. I wanted to help them, and I wanted to try and make their teaching lives easier, and I wanted to try and help them create lessons that were more engaging for their students. And I wanted them to know that what I could offer if they didn't know what I could do. So this was sort of like a showcasing of what I could help them with, and sort of a starting point for them to come and start talking to me about things. If there were conversations that they had with me that they couldn't earn a punch for, it was one if they were coming to just complain, just to complain. Now, if they're coming to me to complain about something that I could totally solve, then that was doable. But if they were coming to me to complain per se, they were just complaining about admin, or they're complaining about their neighbor teacher, or they were complaining about a student in class, or whatever, none of those conversations earned a punch. So I would totally listen to them, and I told them I would listen because everyone needs someone to vent to every once in a while. But I didn't want to set myself up as someone that was for that. I didn't want to help spread negativity. I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to be the person that they came to bounce ideas off of. I wanted to be the person that would creatively solve their problem in such a way that they were excited to come and do this lesson the next day or whatever. But I did not want to be the complain person. And it worked. I was just upfront with them, and it worked. One of the options that the teachers could earn was a coupon book, which this is the image of it that I created. And I made some templates of this that are in, if you are a coach, then I made this one, and you can insert your image and color coordinate it according to your needs. Or if you are a TIS, I made this one. This is in Publisher, so I hope it's going to be compatible for you guys. If you're interested in doing even just the ticket part. We are TACS, so I called it the TACS tribute tickets. I like alliteration, so if you notice, the coach is the coach coupon, and the TIS is the TIS ticket, because I like alliteration. But if they were to win this, which some of them were like, oh, I don't care, just give me the coupon book, it's actually a jackpot. They get 5 things. And I remember plain as day being a teacher, and I remember that there just wasn't enough time to make copies. And when I was a team of 3 teachers, we had about 100 kids each. Copies for all of our kids took a long time. So copies for a day is one of the options that I put in there. Snacks, beverages, doing your bulletin board. They had to provide the materials, and then I would put it up for them the way they wanted to. And we have poster printers all over our county, so I was offering to create, print, and laminate posters for teachers. So this is actually a jackpot if they won this. 2 of my teachers actually earned this book because of that. They ended up earning all 5 prizes. And then 2 other teachers earned cookies and chicken dips. They chose those, so it was a personalized win for them. It's what they wanted. And the cookies and chicken dip definitely got demolished, but I have yet to get anyone use their TACS tribute tickets, but I'll tell you why they probably didn't use them later. All right, so what I learned about my teachers because of this was more than just getting them to come and talk to me about school stuff. I learned that some of my teachers are really competitive, even when it's not a competition. I had some teacher that, like, this wasn't a competition. It was just, here's a punch card. Just like if you were going to Subway and you had a punch card, and it was like a competition with yourself maybe, but I had a couple of teachers that wanted to be the first one to finish their card. And I use that information now to get these teachers on board with something. I make it a game. I make it a competition, something that they can win. And when I started hinting to this one teacher that someone else was almost finished with their card, she started coming to me a lot more because she wanted to be the first one to finish her card. So I use that information for good now. Some teachers were motivated because I was reaching out first, and because I took that first step, they felt more comfortable playing along and coming back to me. Some were motivated to complete their card because they wanted someone to do something for them just to help them out. So they were going to take advantage of me, which I'm like, sure, take advantage of me. That's why I'm here. Some teachers were testing me. They didn't believe that I meant what I said when I said that I wanted to help them any way, shape, form that I could. They didn't believe me, so they started testing me. I proved them that I was right, which was good for everybody, but they did. They wanted to test me out to see if I would be willing to do it and if I would give them a punch when they didn't really deserve it. I proved them that. All right, so some teachers were just thrilled to have a full-time TACS again. Like I said, I was out for a whole semester, so they were just happy that somebody was here in the office all the time. And then there were a few that just didn't care, threw my card away and deleted the email and didn't talk to me, which is fine too. I got to them later. Not every strategy reaches everybody, so you got to have more than one. This was just a big one. That the punch cards was a big one. Some other tips and tricks that I do that worked for me. I am up front, an open book, have an open door, and an open mind all the time. If you're part-time or if it's a very busy time of the year, like at the end of the year last year, it was so busy, I set up open door times weekly so that I knew that I would be dedicated, and they knew, my teachers knew that I would be dedicated to them during this particular time, and they could just pop in and I would be available to them. They also knew that emails and texts and phone calls, I would get back to them too, but they knew that I would be in the building this day each week at this time so that I could help them. If you're part-time, or this is like an added contract, you might want to consider doing that so they know that that's when they can reach you. Something I started my first year was to send out to everyone in the school a weekly email or a newsletter, like I said, to everybody, not just to certain departments, not just to core teachers, not just to admin, but to everybody. This did a lot of things for me that I wasn't anticipating at first. The first thing that it did was it gave administration proof of what I was doing. And they didn't have to have a meeting with me. They didn't have to ask me questions. They knew from my emails weekly what I was doing that week, what I had completed, what other things were going on. And it just was like something that they didn't have to worry about. It also showed the more timid teachers that were maybe a little more anxious to come to me or didn't think that they needed my help, to see what I was doing. I would showcase cool things that I heard about the teachers were doing with or without my help. I would give suggestions. I would give them my schedule so they knew where I was and what I was doing. So it gave them the opportunity to find me when they knew I was available. And this also, I actually ended up building a really great rapport with the custodial staff because of these emails, because they were like, oh, well, how do I would mention things about email, and they were like, oh, they felt like they could come to me and ask me questions about things that they would use in their life, which was our school email, because I mentioned and included them in those emails as well. Next is I always try to be smiling when I'm outside my office, and I actually have resting witch face. So it was a conscious effort to be smiling all the time, but when you smile, it helps you, and it also makes you a little bit more approachable to other people. I tried to find a genuine compliment to give to every person that I interacted with in the day, and I tried to reply to as many emails in person, especially if it was a first email from a teacher. I tried to go to them in person to reply to that email, only during their lunch or planning, of course. And I tried to get right to the point and not waste their time, because their time is very precious. I did not focus so much on building personal relationships the first year that I'm in the building now. I'm there to do a job, but it's important for me to build those professional relationships first. And now that this is now my third year in the school, I'm really starting to build further and start more personal relationships with my teachers and staff. You want to know what the best relationship building experience I had? Nothing makes teachers closer to their TACS than a required interaction during a stressful time. Not sure if any of you figured out what school year I'm talking about here, but it was the 1920 school year. So that was, I took the first semester off to be with my family, came back in January. We were gone in March because of COVID. So I had 2 months of working full time in the building with my teachers. So I unfortunately only got to run the punch card initiative for 2 months. And I had 4 people, I think maybe, I had 4 people complete it. So I think that's pretty good. However, the remote time with my teachers gave me a huge opportunity to prove to them that I am dependable and trustworthy. I proved to them that I will do anything and everything in my power to help them, even if it is just to help drag them across the finish line to retirement, which I had to do for a teacher, and even if we never actually got to talk face to face. I would probably not want to relive that year, but it was a great opportunity to build relationships with teachers that I would not have necessarily been able to build that first year that I was there. Okay, like I said, I have templates for you guys, so you can have this email and this you can have this, the email that I sent, my coupon tickets. I also created punch card templates for you guys. I can show you those. I created, you print these out on cardstock, cut them out, and that just have to pay for the cardstock and the ink, which is bam. I also gave you the link to the punch cards that I ordered and my hole punchers that I got. Let me get this link for you. Please let me know if you have issues with that link. Be sure it's set up so anyone can see it. So I have the email template, this PowerPoint presentation, the tickets and punch cards, and some ideas for prizes, a list of ideas for prizes in there so you guys can have all that. And here is where I would like to answer any questions. If you have any comments or have something to add, like a trick or tip that you've done with your teachers or that your TIS or coach has done with you that was really effective.
You can add questions in the chat or in the Q&A, everyone.
There's one question here that asks, do I use a website or a help desk platform for a help desk platform? No. I have, last year I created like a website of tutorials of all things technology for our students that the kids sort of did, but it wasn't anything that was like a live help desk. It was more like 5-minute or less short tutorial videos that I created. And then our county also that last year started a professional development website that a lot of the videos I created for teachers and students went onto that website as well for our Greenbrier County Schools teachers. But for me personally, I don't really have like a website for a help desk platform or anything like that. It's basically just through my email, they can contact me. I do a lot of one-on-one stuff because I'm in the building with them, and this is what I do full time. So I'm in the building with my teachers. If they text me, and it's like, can you come here? I'm running down the hallway to them right in and there. I have thrown up some ideas about having like a website that is more public. I have a blog, which is Level Up with Sophie, I believe. If you would like to follow me on social media, that's my contact information. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm not doing a whole lot on TikTok, but TikTok has a lot of cool educational teacher things.
There is another question there.
Alex, I feel like I've seen your name a lot today. We've been in like all the same sessions. Yes, I did work at a higher ed for a hot minute once, and professors are experts in their area, and they are a little more reluctant to coming and asking for help. But anything to just start opening the door and showcasing what you have done for others can really make a difference and letting them see that, oh, because I'm asking for help doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. Because there are some teachers that even say, I hate to be wasting your time. And I'm like, you're not wasting my time. This is what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you. And there's a lot of encouraging that their question's not stupid, even at for high school teachers and middle school teachers, because I've done this job at both levels, that their question's not stupid and they're not wasting my time, and I'm not finding that their question is annoying. I will gladly show them how to attach something to an email before they send it. And if they're able to do it the next time, then yes, a win. If they need my help again because they're anxious, then yes, I will do that as well. But there's nothing that I won't help them with. And I work really hard at being calm and trying to find out where they are on the spectrum, so I meet them where they are. So sometimes in my handouts and tutorial videos that I did a lot more videos this year than I ever have, because I'm normally face-to-face with them, is I start from the very beginning, because I don't want to assume that they know the basics. I want to help them, because there is a wide range of teachers in your school. And if they already know how to do the beginning part, then they can skip it. If they don't know how to do the beginning part and that's confusing, then they can rewatch it over and over again. So, sorry, I'm sort of rambling. Thank you for joining me today, guys. I hope I showed you something cool.